Can you hear me? Okay. So in the summer of 2014, after my junior year of college, I had an internship that summer. And in the few weeks between the internship and going back to the reality of school, I decided to fly to New York and visit my best friend in her hometown of Oneonta. Really small town. I thought it would be a fun adventure to go see like her roots and her family and where she grew up. And so I did, and I was going to stay with her for 11 days. And after she picked me up from the airport, we drove up to her house. And when we got out of the car, she said, when we got out of the car, she said, as most people say when you visit their house, "Oh, please excuse the mess." And when we walked into her basement, the first thing I noticed was that it was like I had walked into a city, but instead of buildings, there were towers of boxes. And it was laid out like this elaborate grid, and it was very organized, but it was like some of them were taller than me. But it's a basement. People keep stuff in their basement. So go from the basement to the kitchen to the living room, and I noticed the living room also has this same theme of like boxes kind of on the side and up tall. And I didn't really think too much of it. I thought her house was pretty small. So we walked to the hallway to her bedroom, and the hallway to her bedroom has been narrowed so thin that we can barely get through it, and the other side is just boxes, and her golden retriever's coming behind us, and his tail is like whacking the wall and the boxes. And we go into her bedroom, and we walk in, and there's like a closet in the back with a chair pushed up against it, which I thought was odd, but didn't think much of. She had a waterbed. She had like gorgeous clouds made of like cotton hanging from her ceiling. It was very dreamlike. And so I spent the next 9 days getting to know her house and her family and spending time there. And on the 9th night, we were kind of feeling emotional. I was going to leave and go back to college. We were getting best friend tattoos the next day, which we did, and I still have, obviously, because they're permanent. And so feeling emotional, hanging out and talking, and her house has this wrapping balcony, and I asked, where does this balcony go? Like, around the back, does it go anywhere? And she said, oh, it goes to my parents' bedroom. And that struck me as really odd because one of the main features of her house, in the very center, there's this big staircase that goes up to this landing that overlooks the living room. And I know there's like a door up there, and that kind of seemed like the king's suite, like this big overlooking thing. And I had assumed her parents' bedroom was there. And so I asked, well, wait, what's in the big bedroom up there? And she said, oh, that's my old bedroom from when I was little. And I said, oh, you guys didn't like convert it to a guest bedroom? And she said, no, not really. We don't have a lot of guests. And I said, well, can I see it? She goes, okay. So we walk up the stairs into this bedroom, and we didn't really walk into a bedroom. We walked into 1998. Nothing in her bedroom had been touched since she moved out of that room. There was like fuzzy posters on the wall and a Britney Spears calendar and a lava lamp, and her bed, the nightside table by her bed was still organized with books and like a journal as if she could come back into it at any minute. This room was like suspended in time. And it was just the most surreal thing I've ever experienced. Aside from a couple bags of maybe like stuffed animals and clothes that it seemed like maybe her parents had thought of donating, it was just this time capsule in her house. And I was like, I'm surprised you guys didn't like swap this out for a guest bedroom. Your house is pretty small. And she goes, oh, it's not that small. And all I had seen at this point was her bedroom, the living room, and the basement. And I go, what else is there? She leads me to her bedroom. And the door that I had thought was a closet, she pulls the chair aside and opens it, and it's a hallway. And I've been here for 9 days. I was like, what's in this extra hallway? We go back into the hallway. There's another room. This room is like a craft room, and there's crafts that are like in progress, but she says that her mom hasn't worked on them in years. But it's like there's like paintbrushes out, and it like looks like she could come back into it at any second. And it was just another one of these like time capsules. And then we go downstairs, and I knew her dad taught, I think, like art or photography at a local college. And there's like a printing studio downstairs. And this whole house seems like it's just like unfolding before me, and all these things that I knew, not only things I didn't know about her, but things I didn't know about this house that I had spent more than a week in. And it felt so surreal. And so she was talking about the differences between us. My parents are very different than hers. My parents are very clean and meticulous. Our house looks like an IKEA catalog, but just because everything is so clean and put away. And whereas hers, she could be telling a story about some artifact from her childhood and go walk over and pick it up. She knew where everything was, and everything was always in its place. And she said there was something nice about that certainty of feeling like if you set something down, you could always come back to it at any moment because it was never going anywhere. And I kind of challenged that. I was like, really? Is that? She'd done the trick a couple times. And I was like, you think that's true? And she goes, no, it's definitely true. And at the time, she was drinking this cherry Icee. And she goes, I'll prove it to you. And she set it underneath the desk at the top of this landing. And she has since moved to New Orleans. But every time she goes home for Christmas or for summer, she sends me a picture of the cup from the cherry Icee. Thank you.